I never thought I'd die on a Wednesday, let alone die and come back with memories that shattered everything I believed about life, death, and what waits for us beyond. My name is Ethan. I'm 49 years old, or at least I was when this happened. I was born a skeptic, raised in a home that worshipped science and facts, not spirits and faith. I didn't believe in God, angels, or an afterlife. I believed in what I could see, touch, and measure. That belief would be torn apart on the operating table of a heart surgery that was supposed to save my life, but instead sent me straight into death. It started with chest pain, that kind that creeps up like a shadow behind your ribs and wraps its cold hands around your lungs. I thought it was stress. I was under a lot of pressure, work, family, aging parents, my own fears about turning 50. One day, I collapsed, just like that. No drama, no warning. I dropped my coffee mug and I was on the ground. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed with wires attached to my chest and my wife's tear-streaked face beside me. "You had a heart attack," she said. Her voice was trembling. "They said it was bad. They're doing surgery tomorrow." The surgeon came in later, calm, professional, cold, almost. He explained I needed a quadruple bypass. He said it was risky, but they'd done it hundreds of times. "We'll see you on the other side," he joked, just before they wheeled me into the OR. I wanted to believe I'd wake up with a better heart and a second chance, but that's not what happened. The last thing I remember was the anesthesiologist's voice counting me down. 10 by 9. I never reached 8. Everything went black. And then, something strange happened. There was light. But not the tunnel of light people talk about. No, this was different. It was like I had fallen into pure consciousness. No body, no eyes, no sound. Just awareness. I was floating, suspended in something beyond time, beyond space. I didn't know what I was, but I was still me. Suddenly, a presence emerged. Not a person, not a being in the traditional sense. It was more like energy, intelligence. But it felt familiar, like it had always known me. I didn't hear it speak, but I understood it. "You are not your body," it said. "You are not Ethan." I felt panic rise in me. If I wasn't Ethan, then who was I? And then the memories started coming, but not my memories. Lifetimes, so many lifetimes. I saw flashes, like films playing at once. I was a soldier, a mother, a teacher, a starving child, a priest, a murderer, a healer. I watched myself live and die again and again, wearing different skins, speaking different languages, loving different people. Each life came with its own lessons. Some I had learned, some I had failed. And then I saw it, the cycle, a vast spiraling system of birth, death, and rebirth. Like an infinite wheel, each soul moving along it based on the choices they made, the love they gave or denied, the pain they caused or healed. It was beautiful, terrifying, just, mercilessly just. I realized something that hit me like a tidal wave. We don't get to die. We're pulled, recycled, returned until we get it right, until we evolve. I wasn't in heaven. I wasn't in hell. I was in a realm of truth. I saw souls in every stage, some rising, glowing, almost ready to break free of the cycle. Others dark, stuck, angry, trapped by greed, fear, hate. Then I saw someone I knew, my daughter, but it wasn't this life. She wasn't my daughter yet. She was a child, clinging to a woman I somehow recognized as myself in another life, long ago. The feeling ripped through me. I had failed her back then. I saw it. I abandoned her, and I had spent this current life trying to fix that without even knowing why. The presence beside me said, "Everything you love, you've loved before." I broke down. Even without a body, I sobbed, or the soul version of sobbing. And then it showed me this life, from above, like I was watching a hologram of my current existence, my wife, my children, my mistakes, my lies, my acts of kindness, my regrets. I watched how every word, every decision rippled outward. Nothing was meaningless. not even the smallest action. And then I saw the moment I died. The surgical team in a frenzy, alarms blaring, a flat line on the monitor, my body cold, pale, while my wife prayed outside, shaking. They were trying to bring me back. The presence spoke again. Do you want to go back? Everything in me wanted to say no. I felt peace there. I felt clarity. But something deeper called me. Not duty, not fear, love. I couldn't leave things undone. I want to go back, I said. The presence pulsed with what I can only describe as acceptance. And then, with a force like gravity collapsing, I was yanked violently through layers of what felt like time, emotion, memory, until I slammed back into my body like a car crash. My eyes snapped open and I screamed, not in pain, in awe, in terror, in rebirth. The nurse nearly dropped her clipboard. "He's back," she shouted. "He's awake." They swarmed around me. I was drenched in sweat, my throat raw, my chest on fire, but I was alive, and I remembered everything. They said I had been gone for almost 5 minutes. 5 minutes without a heartbeat. 5 minutes flatlined. 5 minutes where the doctors fought to bring me back, shocking my chest, pushing adrenaline through my veins. 5 minutes that should have destroyed my brain from lack of oxygen. But I came back, clearer than ever. I couldn't speak at first. My throat was raw from the tube, but my mind, my soul was roaring. Everything I had seen, everything I had been, played on a loop behind my eyes. The cycle, the other lives, the voice, the truth. The doctors were baffled. They called it a miracle. "You were clinically dead," one of them whispered when no one was around. "But your brain activity, it shouldn't be what it is. It's like you were dreaming the whole time. But this doesn't make sense." No, it didn't make sense to them. But it made perfect sense to me now. When they left, my wife came in. She kissed my forehead, sobbing, thanking God I was alive. I looked at her and almost collapsed again because I saw her, not just her face, but her soul. I recognized her across lifetimes. In one, she had been my mother. In another, a stranger who had saved my life with a loaf of bread. We had crossed paths so many times, and I never knew. I held her hand and whispered, "I found you again." She didn't understand, but she smiled. Recovery was slow, but my transformation was instant. I couldn't see the world the same way anymore. People around me walked in a fog, chasing deadlines, money, validation. I used to be one of them. I used to be driven by ambition, numbers, competition. Now I could feel the energy in a room. I could sense when someone was hurting, even if they were smiling. I could see beauty in things I used to ignore, light coming through the curtain, a bird's cry, the silence between words, and something else started happening. Dreams. At night, I would dream of lives I had never lived, or hadn't remembered living. I was a woman kneeling in prayer beside a fire. I was a young boy running barefoot through ancient streets. I was a man dying on a battlefield, whispering the name of a lover I no longer knew. And the most shocking dream of all came weeks later. I saw a man sitting in meditation, surrounded by light, his eyes glowing with the wisdom of centuries. He looked at me and said, "You came back to remember." I woke up gasping. From that moment on, I started writing everything down, every vision, every feeling, every thread that tied my current life to the ones before. And it wasn't just about remembering. I started changing. People noticed. My children asked why I cried watching them sleep. My co-workers wondered why I had resigned from my executive job with no plan B. But I had a plan, a bigger one than ever before. I needed to understand the cycle. And more than that, I needed to help others remember too. I dove into every spiritual tradition I had once scoffed at. Hindu texts, Buddhist scriptures, near-death experiences from all over the world. I saw the patterns, the consistency, the same truths showing up again and again across time and culture. We are not bodies that have souls. We are souls that wear bodies. And each life is a classroom. Each person you meet is a mirror or a messenger. Each pain is a test or a teacher. And when we die, we don't disappear. We return to the source. And then, if we're not done, we come back. But the scariest truth, most people don't remember. They forget. The trauma of birth, the shock of the physical world, it blinds us. We live thinking this is all there is. But inside us, in our silence, in our intuition, the memories stir. And sometimes, just sometimes, it takes death to wake us up. That night, a few months after my surgery, something happened I will never forget. I was alone in the living room, reading. Everyone was asleep. And then the air changed. It became electric, heavy but peaceful. And I knew I wasn't alone. I looked up. There, standing in the corner of the room, not with my eyes, but with something deeper, I saw them. 3 figures. Not ghosts, not angels like in movies. They were beings of light, humanoid but fluid, radiating peace. They didn't speak, but I felt their message. "You're ready." I nodded. They disappeared. That same week, I met someone by coincidence, a woman named Amara, who worked with people who had experienced near-death states. When I shared my story, she just smiled and said, "Welcome back." We talked for hours. She confirmed so much of what I had seen: the cycle, the lives, the purpose of returning. But she also said something that still echoes in my heart. You were sent back with a mission, not just to remember, but to remind. And so I began. Quietly at first, talking to others who had brushed death, starting a journal, speaking at small gatherings, telling my story not to shock, but to awaken. And people did awaken. Men who had lost all hope cried in my arms. Women who felt broken told me they remembered dreams from childhood that matched what I described. One boy came to me after a talk and whispered, "I see them too, the light beings." I held his hand. He didn't need convincing. He already knew. Months passed. My physical body healed, but my soul was already reborn. I left my old life behind entirely. The man I was, Ethan, the skeptic, the achiever, the man of numbers and logic, died on that table. What came back was someone softer, someone more awake, someone who understood that the greatest truth in the universe is not power, not success, not control. It's love. Everything in the cycle, everything in the design, revolves around love. But not just romantic love. Not just the easy love we show to those who treat us well. No, it's the love that forgives. The love that sees light in darkness. The love that chooses compassion when judgment would be easier. That's the kind of love that helps a soul break the cycle. Because here's the hardest truth I brought back from that realm of light. Some souls never break free. They live. They die. They come back, over and over, trapped by hatred, by greed, by vengeance, by pride. They drag their pain across centuries, across continents, wounding others and being wounded again, until one day, one lifetime, something cracks, and they wake up. And that's when the cycle begins to loosen. That's when the climb begins. And for me, I realized that death had been my crack, my awakening, but it didn't mean I was done. No, I had so much more to do. One night, while walking through a quiet park, I sat on a bench and looked up at the stars. The air was cool, the trees gently rustling. And then, once again, I felt it. That presence. Not as clear as during the NDE, but it was there, subtle, warm, watching. And in my mind, a question rose. A question I hadn't dared ask until that moment. How many lives have I lived? And the answer came, not in words, but in knowing. Hundreds. Hundreds. That night I cried harder than I ever had, because I felt the weight of it all. The pain I'd caused, the good I'd done, the mistakes I'd repeated, the people I'd failed, the lives I'd cherished, all of it. Part of the sacred tapestry of my soul's journey. But also I felt peace, because now I understood I wasn't trapped anymore. I was awake, and I had been given the greatest gift, the memory of what we truly are. We are not these names, these jobs, these fleeting lives. We are eternal, we are learning, we are part of something so vast, so wise, so heartbreakingly beautiful, that words can only fail. Since that moment, my life has become an offering. I speak in places I never imagined. Hospitals, churches, prisons, schools. Anywhere there is someone ready to hear. And I tell them the truth, not to scare them, but to set them free. You don't have to wait for death to remember. You don't have to suffer endlessly before you awaken. You just have to stop. Listen, feel the soul inside you. It remembers, it knows. Every time you choose forgiveness over rage, every time you choose truth over comfort, every time you lift someone from despair instead of judging their fall, you step off the wheel. You rise a little closer to home, and one day, maybe not in this life, but in one to come, you'll break the cycle completely. You'll return to the source, not because you escaped life, kids, but because you completed it. I'm still Ethan, but I'm also more. I'm the sum of 100 lives. I'm a witness of the cycle. And I came back to remind you of what you already know deep down. You are a soul. You are loved. You are infinite. And this isn't the end. This is only the beginning. Based on a true story.